Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to go through Daria Morgendorffer's reading list. If you don't know Daria Morgendorffer, Daria was the main character of the cartoon show Daria that was on MTV a couple years ago. No, not a couple. A few years ago now. And I used to love that growing up. Daria was this like introvert, bookworm, but at the same time she was really sassy and sarcastic. You know, she was insecure, but at times very confident about her academics, let's say. And yeah, so she was featured reading a lot of books. And if you Google Daria Morgendorffer's, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make myself comfortable because it's so hot, that's why, you know, the bun. If you Google Daria Morgendorffer's reading list, you will find like lots of posts, blog posts and stuff. I am using one from aerogramstudio.com, I'll link it down below. And they listed 57 books. So I decided, you know what, I'm not going to try and find a longer list, otherwise I'm just going to feel bad because I haven't read a lot of these books. So I decided to not just tell you the books that are on the list. First of all, I am going to show you the books that I own physically that I have read that are on the list. So we're going to start with that, and then, you know, we'll continue. I'm sorry about if it sounds like I'm all over the place. I just got home from work, and work is fine, you know, but it's just really hot right now, and when it's really hot I can't function. Okay guys, so I'm gonna start with the books that I own physically that I have read and that are on the list. So the first one, I am currently reading this one, so I haven't read it yet, but I am currently reading it, and that is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Then we have City of Glass by Paul Auster, but I own the New York Trilogy and City of Glass is the first one, so yes, I have read the New York Trilogy, which includes City of Glass. Then we have Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. A lot of people hate this book because it's just, you know, super heavy and super dense and horrible characters. This book is really special to me because my first thesis, the one that I wrote during my first master's degree, was sort of based on this book, or part of the theme was based on this book, so it is just very special to me. I understand why people don't like it because it's just so, like I said, heavy, but yeah, I kind of love it. Then we have Madame Bovary. I read this for my book club, and at the time I was stabbing like crazy, but I didn't add any notes, so I'm not even sure. Well, I have some notes, I just noticed that, but I'm not even sure why I decided to, you know, tab these specific pages. I guess it's because of the story. I think I was following the character development because a lot of people said that, you know, Madame Bovary is a type of character that at first you don't really mind and then you end up hating her. She was really annoying. I don't hate her, but she's an annoying character. But yeah, look at this. I should totally read it again. I actually enjoyed it. You know, she was annoying, but I enjoyed it. Then we have Animal Farm by George Orwell. This is a Portuguese edition, but I actually read the English edition when I was waiting for my mom at a bookstore, and it's a really, you know, it's a fast read. I think it took me like, I don't know, I was there for a couple of hours, but then I got this Portuguese edition from like a secondhand bookstore. It was like 50 cents or something. Then we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. This is my edition. I've seen covers that are more beautiful than this one. I don't really mind it, but yeah, it is sort of destroyed because I've read this book many times. Then we have Macbeth by William Shakespeare, obviously. It is sad because I read this for school, university. Dog ears, really? I never dog ear my books. It's not like I think that's horrible, I just don't do it, so I'm surprised. Then we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I love this edition because we have the original Frankenstein. You have Mary Shelley's earliest draft, and then you have Percy Shelley's revised text. And it is sort of divided because the pages are a little bit darker. And this is when you start reading Mary Shelley's earliest draft, if I'm not mistaken. It tells you to compare pages like 86 to 87, and it has footnotes, so you can compare her earliest draft with the revised text. So it is a beautiful edition, I really loved it, and Frankenstein is one of my favorite classics. And then we have The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I love John Steinbeck. I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of people who don't, but I do. Okay, so these are the books that I have read that are on the list and that I own. So now I'm going to show you here the books that I don't own but that I have read and that are on the list. So Howl and Other Poems by Allen Ginsberg, The Metamorphoses by Franz Kafka, Critique of Pure Reason by Immanuel Kant. I actually had to read this for an essay. This is obviously philosophy and it was just very complicated for me, but I read it. Death in Venice by Thomas Mann, Blood Meridian or The Evening Redness in the West by Cormac McCarthy. I actually love that book. 1984 by George Orwell, The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. Oh, I should have added this. Romeo and Juliet. I don't have like one book to show you, but I do own like the complete works of William Shakespeare, so it is here and I have read it. Sorry. The Leopard by Giuseppe Tomazzi di Lampedusa, and I am sorry if I'm butchering the name. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, The Art of War by Sun Tzu, and that's that. So I don't own a physical copy of those books, or I actually don't, no, I don't have them on my e-reader either, but I have read them. Usually, you know, I used to use the library a lot when I was studying, so that's why I don't own these books. So now I am going to show you books that I have read by authors that are mentioned on the list, but not those specific books. So for example, we have a book by Jack Kerouac here, but I haven't read that book, but I read another one. So I'm going to sort of show you that I know the author, but I haven't read these specific books. So by Jane Austen, obviously, I counted Sense and Sensibility, but I also read Persuasion and Emma. And then I have the New York Trilogy by Paul Auster, but I also read Moon Palace by Paul Auster. I studied both of them at university. So by Jack Kerouac, I don't remember what she has here. The Dharma Bums. I read On the Road, and weirdly enough, I was watching some reviews about On the Road, and people apparently hate it. I think I only watched like one review of someone praising this book, and I understand that this book has a lot of issues and it's really long. I understand that we could just remove some of these passages, they're not as important. I understand that it's really dense and descriptive, and I understand there are a lot of issues, but I think this book is brilliant. So I don't understand when people say that, you know, they don't like On the Road. That's confusing. So yeah. Obviously I read Blood Meridian. I don't own a physical copy of that book, but I own The Road, and I have read this book. I hated The Road. I love Blood Meridian and I hated The Road. Then by Shakespeare, obviously I have the complete works, but I also have these copies. I studied Shakespeare at university, and at the time I didn't have this book, and even if I did, I wouldn't take it to class. So I have Antony and Cleopatra. This is one of my favorite plays. Richard III and Othello. By John Steinbeck, so on the list we have The Grapes of Wrath, but I've also read Of Mice and Men, and I don't own that book physically. The Pearl and East of Eden, which I own, but it's over there. So I'm not gonna go pick it up. We have two authors mentioned on the list, but I didn't read those books. I read others. For example, The Death of Ivan Ilitich by Tolstoy, and Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. And Daria apparently read Breakfast of Champions, but I read these ones. I also own a couple of books that are mentioned, but I haven't read them, so I'm going to show you. I own As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. She has read this book. I haven't. I should. Crime and Punishment by... No! Wait. She doesn't mention Crime and Punishment. She mentions Dostoyevsky. I own Crime and Punishment, but she mentions the brothers Karamazov and The House of the Dead. So I don't own those books. I haven't read them, but I also own Crime and Punishment. And then by Tolstoy, she has Anna Karenina and War and Peace, both of them on the list, and I haven't read these, so that happens. Now I'm just going to tell you the books that are on the list by authors, like books that I haven't read, and probably authors that I don't even know. Some of them, others I know. For example, The Divine Comedy by Dante. I remember reading some passages of The Divine Comedy while studying something at university, but I haven't read the book, and I don't own it. Then we have Rule of the Bone by Russell Banks. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I think I remember this episode, and I think she wasn't really reading it, or she was just making fun of it, something like that. The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. Fifth Business by Robertson Davies. A Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe. The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner. On Moral Fiction by John Gardner. The Life and Complete Work of Francisco Goya by Pierre Gassier. The Chess Garden by Brooks Hansen. Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I don't know why I haven't read that book. I think that's like one of those books that you have, it's a must, you have to read it, and I haven't read it. Yeah, I'll take care of it, guys, I promise. The Iliad by Homer. Daisy Miller by Henry James. I think my best friend has read this book and she said it was really good. The Dharma Bombs by Jack Kerouac. I haven't read that book, I read others. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kinsey. I've heard wonderful things about this book, but I also think that it's just super heavy and it's not for everybody. That's what people have told me. Sons and Lovers by D.H. Lawrence. Oh, I forgot to mention that I own Lady Chatterley's Lover. I've mentioned that, and it is an ebook actually. I also forgot to mention that I own Moby Dick by Herman Melville, but I'm not going to show you because you are sitting on it. I don't have a tripod, so I have a stack of books every time I need to film. And Moby Dick is quite thick, so it helps, and it's right there, but I haven't read it. The Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. Some of these books, I know the titles, but I don't know what they're about. Being a Nothingness and Nausea by Jean-Paul Sartre. Black Beauty by Anna Swell. Then we have Babbitt by Sinclair Lewis. I don't know anything about this book actually. The Prince by Machiavelli. My dad owns a copy of this book, so I might just, you know, ask if I can borrow it. The Gulag Archipelago by Alexander, and I'm not going to try and pronounce that name. It will be here somewhere, but that's weird and I don't know how to pronounce it. Angle of Repose by Wallace Stegner. Our American Cousin by Tom Taylor. Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Henry and Glenn Forever by Igloo Tornado. The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. Obviously Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. The Island of Dr. Moreau by H.G. Wells. I actually read Time Machine. I just thought about it. Ethan Frome by Edith Wharton. Those are the books that I don't own a copy of, and I haven't read them at all. So some of them I know, like I know the titles, but I don't know what they're about. Others I have an idea of the plot. So those are the books, guys. I have read, I think, I don't even know how many, but I read quite a bit. And I think this list is just really interesting. As you can see, Daria was sort of a, you know, the literature nerd, and we love that. She read a lot of classics, but also like stuff considered like maybe modern classics. Sometimes I Google like fictional characters reading lists, like Daria's or Bernard Black's reading list from Black Books. He's obnoxious, but he reads, so. And sometimes you can get like really great ideas if you don't know what to read and you're looking for something very specific. So let me know if you have read any of these books, if you are going to check the link that I'm going to leave in the description box with the entire list, so you can look at it and actually decide if you want to read any of the books. I don't know a lot of people who watched Daria growing up, so let me know if you have. Here in Portugal it wasn't that popular. I'm not a teenager anymore, so it's really hard for me to relate to her, but growing up, you know, I loved her, and yeah, I still think it's a cool show. So that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It was a I hope it's different. I was trying to think of something different to film, and sorry about that. The window is open. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below. I would love to talk to you guys more, so please do. And I'm sorry about the hair. I'm sorry about the voice, because I sound like I've been sneezing, and that's true, but that's just because it's so hot outside and my allergies start acting up. And yeah, that's why I couldn't film, because I get home from work so tired. But today is not extremely hot, so I was fine with it, and I decided to film a video anyway. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, everything, and I will see you very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.